Hey guys, how's it going? Today I got another laptop review for you guys. This is the HP Dragonfly Elite, and this is last year's model. They actually updated this model for this year with new Ice Lake processors with vPro, but this is last year's model, which still has the 8th gen Whiskey Lake processors because at the time only 8th gen had vPro, which is important for business users. So that's why it's running a 8th gen CPU. But yeah, the specs of this laptop, I got this one used on eBay for a pretty decent price. I got it for $1,000. Originally, it started at $1,500. This unit, if it was brand new with the specs that I have, it would be retailing new for about $1,800. But yeah, I took a discount, got it secondhand. The specs are Core i5 8265U. Like I said, this is a 8th gen processor because this is last year's model. 16 gigs of RAM, 256 gig SSD. That's pretty standard. Only the SSD is upgradable on this laptop. The memory is soldered in, unfortunately. But yeah, this is a pretty interesting laptop because HP markets this as a business laptop because it is part of the EliteBook line, which is their business line, but a lot of consumers might be interested in this laptop too because it has a lot of consumer-centric features actually. The things I like about this laptop is that it's really light. So this is with a 4-cell battery, this is about 2.5 pounds, but if you just get the 2-cell battery, this can go all the way down to 2.2 pounds, which would make it probably the lightest convertible laptop on the market, along with the Fujitsu U939X. So this would be one of the two most lightest convertibles on the market if you just get the 2-cell battery. So I got the 4-cell, so it's a little bit heavier, but it will last a longer time. So the reasons why you might get this laptop, first of all, the design. This is a business laptop, so it's got a restrained design, but at the same time, the iridescent blue finish on this makes it really good for use as a consumer laptop as well, right? It's kind of like a subdued HP Spectre X360, which also has a very similar blue finish as well. I think I got the side and blue version of that model as well. All right, let's go over the ports here. So on the left side, you can see one USB-A port, which is a 3.1, the power button right here, lock slot, and then a SIM card slot for mobile WAN. So really only one port on this side. So on the right side you have one USB-C for charging, and then a Thunderbolt 3, and then a headphone jack and a full-size HDMI. And that's it. I guess one of the things that I would prefer HP do is to add a micro SD card slot, or a full-size SD card slot would have been nice. I mean, the port selection is okay. It's definitely better than the one on the Dell XPS 13 2-in-1, but it's not as good as the HP Spectre X360. Definitely not as good as the Japanese laptops like the Vaio or Fujitsu for sure. It's just okay. The port selection is just, it'll work for most people, but you still might need to use some dongles in some cases because only one USB-A port and no micro SD or SD card slot, no Ethernet, right? All right, so let's open this laptop up. You do have to use both hands, by the way. Can't open it with just one hand. And this is the keyboard here. I really like this keyboard. I think this keyboard is one of the best I've used on a laptop of this size. So this is a 13.3-inch ultrabook. I definitely think this keyboard is better than its competitors like the XPS 13 2-in-1, definitely better than the maglev keyboard on that, definitely better than the MacBook Pro. I'm not sure about the new Magic keyboard, but it's better than the old MacBook Pro models with the butterfly keyboard. Compared to the HP Spectre X360, I think that this keyboard is slightly better than that keyboard as well. One thing I don't like about it is these up and down arrows are very squished, and this is something that HP has done in a lot of their laptops, and I don't especially like this design. I'd prefer to have like full-size up and down arrows and just like shift it a little bit down here. I prefer that, you know, that's how the ThinkPads do it, right? But this is the case in a lot of HP laptops and MacBooks as well, right? Well, the older MacBook Pros, again. The new Magic Keyboard MacBook Pros, I think, have a much better layout and keyboard design. And a fingerprint sensor right here. That's works pretty well. The trackpad is pretty generous. It doesn't have any physical left and right click buttons, which might annoy some traditional business users, but it's got the standard clicky trackpad. So this is a more consumer oriented feature. Then you got speakers by Bang & Olufsen, which are actually quite decent for a laptop of this size. We can test it out later. You got some special features here, special keys. So you got I haven't actually used these keys yet, but looks like there's a call and a hang up key. This might be for Skype or something maybe. Haven't tried the video conferencing yet. And then you got some dedicated pin buttons like right there for the calendar. The delete key is a little bit small. I would have preferred this key to be bigger somewhere else. And again, like page up, page down, home and end are secondary functions instead. It would have been nice to have those just be separate keys. I mean, you do have keys here that don't do anything, like this F2. It doesn't have any secondary function. Or these keys up here, again, not sure how useful the call hang up buttons are, but I would have rather preferred either a larger delete key or, you know, dedicated page up, page down, home and end keys somewhere. So I'm not sure why HP made that decision. The bezels are very small. It's very similar to the display on the HP Spectre X360. So if you see my review on that, it's basically the exact same. It's not the same screen, right? Because that one can be a 4K OLED screen, but if you get the full HD version of the Spectre, it's pretty much the same screen as this one. You have very small bezels, micro bezels on the bottom and top. You do have a webcam, right? Very, very small one, but you do have a webcam on top. This is for business users, right? So conferencing is very important. Almost no side bezels. So the bezels are very minimalist, so I like that, right? It's a very consumer-oriented feature, but it's made its way onto business laptops now as well. So yeah, fingerprint sensor works pretty well. The screen is fairly vibrant. This is just a 1080p panel. You can get it with a 4K panel. This is just a IPS panel, but I believe it's 100% sRGB, so that'll give you full coverage. And of course, this is a 2-in-1, so it's a convertible, so you can flip it in stand mode, or you can put it in, this is what they call tent mode, and makes it easier for you to share presentations, I guess. And then of course you can go out to the full tablet mode right here. This is actually pretty okay to hold. A lot of 2-in-1 laptops are a little bit heavy when you put it in tablet mode. So like the Dell XPS 13 2-in-1, the Lenovo X1 Yoga, or the HP Spectre X360. I feel like it's still a little bit heavy when you hold them in tablet mode, but this laptop, because it's so light, is okay. Alright, so let's test out the speakers. Again, apparently there's 4 speakers in here according to HP. They're Bang & Olufsen branded, and let's just watch a video I made, see how it fares.
Writing's not that easy, but Grammarly can help.
You got easy mute button here, don't want to listen to the advertisement. Alright, and I can also put the brightness at full, so you guys can see the full brightness here. It gets pretty bright. I think the screen is pretty nice. And then I'll put the volume at full.
Helps you craft compelling, understandable.
I think right now it's showing 10 hours remaining on 99% battery. I'm not sure if it's actually going to last this long. I think it's... Yep. So full brightness and speakers at 100%. You can see my voice comes across very loud. Actually, it's very clear and detailed. It's probably, you would expect about maybe 6 to 8 hours is what I'm guessing. Especially if you're doing any like heavy tasks on it, right? So you can't expect really good battery life with this thing, especially if you have both displays turned on. So the speakers are front facing, which means that they'll actually sound better in laptop mode than in stand mode. And I'm not sure how I feel about that, because usually when I'm watching videos, I actually do use the stand mode. So yeah, I'm not sure. Like right now, the speakers are front facing. It's better than a lot of laptops because they have down-firing speakers. A lot of the other ultrabooks that I've reviewed, they have down-firing speakers which are very tinny, hard to hear. At least the HP Dragonfly Elite has the speakers up front here, which makes them really nice to listen to in laptop mode. But you put in stand mode, you can hear that they sound more muffled, right? So this is laptop mode. This is probably going to be even less. So I'm going to say like maybe on medium brightness, it can be like 6 to 8 hours. Put it in stand mode, right? You can hear that sounds more tinny. Less than that. So as you can see, this display is flat here. It's not tilted up at you like the Zephyrus 15 Duo is. So I don't know. I guess that's why a lot of convertibles that I've reviewed, they have the down-firing speakers in laptop mode, because stand mode is used for media viewing, I guess, for a lot of people. And then in that mode, if you have down-firing speakers, then it will actually sound better in stand mode. But in this case, if you're using laptop mode, the speakers actually sound better. So yeah. Anyways, the speakers are good. They're better than most of the other ultrabooks I've seen, most of the other convertibles. They get pretty nicely clear and detailed, and they can get pretty loud as well for a laptop of this size. Anyways, I'm not saying that this is gonna be you know, super good for playing audio. You still want to use headphones, but as far as speakers in a laptop are concerned, this is one of the better ones. Okay, now for the build quality, this is military standard A10G certified, which means that they do all those tests like shock, vibration, temperature tests on it, just like with other business laptops, right? Latitudes, ThinkPads, EliteBooks all do that. I don't see any issues so far. There's almost no flex on the palm rest whatsoever. Display can be... Actually, display is fine. Yeah, I was thinking that it's a little bit wobbly, but it's not. Display is fine as well. So for the battery life, HP claims that with the 2-cell battery, you get about 10 hours, 11 hours of battery life. And I'm assuming this is just doing standard web browsing and brightness at medium. You get about 10, 11 hours. And then with the 4-cell battery that I have, which increases the weight a little bit more, it can get up to 15, 16 hours of battery life, which I think is pretty good, right? Because this is a ultra portable business laptop. You're not going to really play many games on it. It doesn't have a dedicated GPU, right? It just comes with the standard integrated Intel graphics, HD 620 or whatever. You can only play very, very light games on this, like World of Warcraft, League of Legends, Dota, Hearthstone. That's all fine. I wouldn't be playing any competitive games or AAA titles on this thing though. But yeah, for your standard business use cases, doing spreadsheets, documents, presentations, those kind of things, it'll last you quite a while. So that's good. So another feature I forgot to mention is the privacy shutter. There's actually a privacy shutter on the webcam here. So right now it's in the open position, so you can do video conferencing. But if you just want to care about your privacy more and you're not doing any video conferencing, then you can just switch it off. And that way hackers won't try to hack into your computer and spy on you, which is a feature that I guess some business people will really care about. So that's another feature here. You have a privacy shutter, so that's nice. Now I want to do some comparisons, and I don't have all the laptops here for the comparison. One comparison I want to do is for the HP Spectre X36013, the one that came out last year. So I did a review on that one. I don't have that model anymore, but I will tell you guys my opinions because I had that laptop, right? So price-wise, you can actually find the HP Spectre X36013 and the Dragonfly Elite for almost around the same price, because business laptops usually get discounted a lot more than consumer laptops do. And right now, since the Dragonfly Elite, this model is last year's model, it's already been quite discounted. So you can find it for around the same price as the X36013. And which one do I think is a better value? Well, it depends on what you want. The X36013 has the option of an OLED display. The Dragonfly Elite does not. So if you really want the best display, then the HP Spectre is better. Also ports wise, the Dragonfly Elite has the HDMI port. The Spectre has a micro SD card slot. So really depends on what you're looking for. If you use micro SDs a lot, which I guess a lot of consumers do, then you'd rather get the Spectre. If you're doing presentations or something a lot, then the Dragonfly Elite is better. In terms of build quality, I think the Dragonfly Elite is better because it's a business notebook and they've been tested to much higher standards. I think other specs are very, very similar between this and the Spectre. So if you get the 1080p panel on the Spectre, the battery life is going to be similar and the display is going to be similar as well. They both have a fingerprint sensor. The trackpad is about the same. I think the keyboard on the Elite is slightly better than that of the Spectre. This is just a very, very crisp, very snappy keyboard, which makes it really nice for typing. So I think if you care about the keyboard a lot, the Dragonfly Elite is better. So audio quality wise, they're both pretty similar. They both use Bang & Olufsen speakers. But if you use your convertible more in laptop mode, I'd say the Dragonfly Elite's a little bit better because it's got the front-facing quad speakers here that are firing up at you, which I think is, to me, it sounds louder and clearer in laptop mode. The Spectre X360 13, it has down-firing speakers, so that means that if you're using it in stand mode, it's probably going to sound a bit better than this laptop in stand mode. So it really depends how you're using a laptop. If you find yourself watching movies, media, music more in stand mode when you're using a convertible, then the X360 13 is probably better. But if you're using your 2-in-1 more in laptop mode, then I think the Dragonfly Elite is probably better. So yeah, it really depends on what you're looking for. If you care about the display quality, then the X360 is going to be better because it's the only one that has a 4K OLED option, right? The Dragonfly Elite doesn't have that. If you care about the micro SD card slot, that's something that the X360 has. Otherwise, if you care about the keyboard, I think the Dragonfly Elite's keyboard is a bit better than the Spectre. So if you care about your typing experience, I recommend the Dragonfly Elite. And if you're doing presentations and stuff like that, then this one has an HDMI port, so that will make it easier for that as well. And of course, this one is lighter as well. So compared to the Spectre, it's lighter by about 0.5 pounds. So it's not a huge difference, but it is something that could be significant if you're traveling a lot, right? So basically that's it. Yeah, if you're looking for a lightweight convertible, this one is probably the one to go for. The typing experience, more business features. If you're looking for more consumer-oriented features, I mean, this is already pretty consumer-oriented compared to other business laptops, but the HP Spectre X360 is a consumer laptop, so it has better display options, the micro SD card slot. So I have a few other convertibles here. I have my Google Pixelbook. This one also weighs around the same amount, about 2.4, 2.5 pounds, but it has a 3.2 display. The HP Dragonfly Elite unfortunately has a 16:9 display. I really wish that they would put a 3.2 display in more laptops, but it seems only Google and Microsoft has done that so far. Yeah, I find the HP Dragonfly Elite size to be quite impressive, considering that this is a 13-inch display, right? And the Google Pixelbook is a 12-inch display. So this actually has a smaller display, but this one is more compact lengthwise. It is slightly wider here, and that's to be expected because of the 16:9 display, but it is more compact on the length side, which is also impressive because this display is actually bigger. By the way, this skin is from Delcaris, delcaris.com. If you guys are wondering, they don't sponsor me or anything. I just use their skins because I find them really cool, and they have a wide selection of skins. This one just happens to be a really cool Japanese-inspired one that I picked up. But yeah, so this is, you can see that this Pixelbook is actually 12.3 inch, has a 12.3 inch display, yeah. And the HP Dragonfly Elite with a 13.3 inch display is actually more compact, right? So that's pretty interesting. See those two side by side, right? The Pixelbook with a taller display because it has a 3:2 aspect ratio. This one has a little bit wider display, 16:9 aspect ratio, but it's also more compact despite having a larger screen. I do wish that more laptop makers would make 3:2 aspect ratio displays, especially for business laptop makers, right? Because I do think it's better for productivity. So that's one thing I like about the Pixelbook is that it's one of the few laptops to have a 3:2 aspect ratio display, but unfortunately seems to be limited to the Pixelbook and some other Google devices and Microsoft devices. And that's pretty much it. I have not seen one from Dell or HP or Lenovo, which is unfortunate. Actually, the upcoming ThinkPad X1 Fold, I believe, has a 4:3 aspect ratio display, but that's a very special and unique device, and it hasn't really come out yet. So yeah, it's a comparison to the Pixelbook, which is actually around the same weight as well, which is 2.4-ish pounds, but it has a 12.3 inch display, yet the 13.3 inch Dragonfly Elite is more compact. I can also compare it to my Porsche Design Book 1, which you guys may have seen if you watched my HP Spectre X360 video. This one is also a 13.3 inch display, also 16:9, and yet the HP Dragonfly Elite is that much smaller. So that's pretty impressive, right? And the difference is just because even though they're the same size displays, the Porsche Design has a much more older design. It has huge bezels, especially at the bottom. So that's why there's so much difference between these two, even though they're the same size displays. So yeah, that's a Portrait Design Book 1 with a traditional 13.3 inch, but it has massive bezels. And then the Pixel Book with a 12.3 inch display. You can tell it's more compact, especially on the width side because of the aspect ratio. Yep, then the Dragonfly Elite, which is more compact than both. And yeah, that's just the size comparison. You can see just how compact the Dragonfly Elite is. And again, I don't have my HP Spectre 360 13, but it's around the same size as the Dragonfly Elite. I don't think there's much difference in size between the two. All right, so I got another comparison here. This is the Vaio SX12. This is a laptop I did a video on a few days ago, and in that video, I said that this laptop was the most compact, lightest ultrabook, lightest full-size ultrabook I've ever done in my channel. And you can see here that the HP Dragonfly Elite is only slightly wider than the Vaio SX12. That's it. It's only slightly wider. It's a 13.3 inch display on the Dragonfly Elite. The Vaio SX12 has a 12.5 inch display, and you can see that they're almost the same size. Like, they have the same length and only a little bit wider for the Dragonfly Elite. That's it. So that's incredibly impressive, I think, for HP, because yeah, this is a 13.3 inch display laptop against a 12.5 inch display laptop, and the Vaio was already really compact to begin with, right? And this weighs only 2 pounds. This weighs like I said, 2.5 pounds with the extra battery, but 2.2 pounds if you go down to the smaller battery. So basically almost the same weight, almost the same size, except the Dragonfly Elite has more screen real estate. So that's pretty impressive. Very impressive by HP that it can match up in size, almost be as small as the Vaio SX12, which is the smallest ultrabook I've ever reviewed on my channel. All right, and there's one more laptop I do want to compare this to. I don't have it at the moment, so I'm just going to show you guys some pictures because it is kind of a hard to find laptop. The Fujitsu U939X that I talked about earlier, this laptop's actually made in Japan, and it's very comparable to the HP Dragonfly Elite. So Fujitsu, just like Vaio and Panasonic and Toshiba, which is now Dynabook, they don't really market their laptops that much in America anymore, but you can still buy them. They're just kind of hard to find. The U939X is also very comparable to the Dragonfly Elite because it weighs around the same amount. It's like 2.2, 2.4 pounds-ish, which means that the Fujitsu and the HP Dragonfly Elite are probably the two lightest convertible laptops on the market right now. Both of them target business users, both around the same weight, and both of them have similar specs. They both run Whiskey Lake 8th gen CPUs. They compete in the same space. So I do want to do a comparison between these two because I was also looking at the Fujitsu as well. And basically it comes down to the Fujitsu has more of that old school design aesthetic, which is how a lot of Japanese manufacturers like Vaio and Panasonic and Dynabook, if you look at a lot of the older laptops, they keep that older design language alive, which is nice to those of us who prefer a more traditional looking business laptop. So you can see that there's physical buttons for the left and right click for the trackpad, there's status indicator lights, but I think the major advantage the Fujitsu has over the Dragonfly Elite is the additional ports. So there's 3 additional ports that it has. It has an extra USB-A port, which can be, very flexible if you have a lot of accessories to attach. And it has a full-size Ethernet port, which actually pops out. So they managed to stick that in the slim frame. And they also have a full-size SD card slot. So for those of us who want all the ports, the Fujitsu has it. It has all, pretty much 8 ports, everything that you would need. So there's a few other cool features of the Fujitsu I want to point out. One is the palm sensor. That's different than a fingerprint sensor. The palm sensor apparently senses the veins in your palms, and it uses that as a biometric security system to log in, which I think is really cool. I don't think any other laptop has that. Then there's a 5 megapixel camera above the keyboard, which is used for taking pictures. And I don't know why anyone would use a laptop for taking pictures instead of a phone. But anyways, it's there if people need it, I guess. And then there's a dedicated slot in the chassis for storing the stylus. So the Fujitsu comes with a stylus just like the HP does, but it has a dedicated slot in the chassis for storing it, just like a ThinkPad X1 Yoga would. So those are pretty cool features as well. So I guess for those of us who are more traditional business users who want a more traditional looking business laptop with a lot of ports, and also keep the same lightness that the Dragonfly Elite has, then the Fujitsu is the way to go. So you might be wondering, how is the Dragonfly Elite better than that? Why did I go for the Dragonfly Elite? Well, I'm not saying the Fujitsu display is bad. They both have IPS displays with near 100% sRGB coverage, but the Dragonfly Elite's display is a little bit better. It's like 25% brighter. So it does have a slightly better display. Everything else, the weight, everything is around the same. The thickness, the size, I think the Fujitsu is a little bit lengthier. So basically what you saw from my Pixelbook, right? The Fujitsu is a little bit lengthier than the Dragonfly Elite, if that matters. It does have the full-size up and down arrows, which the Dragonfly Elite doesn't have. Like I said, I really wish the Dragonfly Elite didn't have those squished up and down arrows. I wish it had the full size. But according to the reviews, now I don't have this unit in for testing or comparison, but according to the reviews, the Fujitsu's keyboard is a little bit mushy, and so I think the Dragonfly Elite's keyboard is a bit better. So I guess it really comes down to that. Also, I like the blue color of the Dragonfly Elite. That's my favorite color. The Fujitsu has a red color, which stands out more. So if you like red, then go for the Fujitsu, I guess. You won't find another red business laptop. But for me, I like the blue design aesthetic better of the Dragonfly Elite. So I guess those are the reasons why I went for the Dragonfly Elite over the U939X. They are very comparable, very similar. They're even around the same price. If you can find the Fujitsu online, then it's pretty much around the same price, I would think. But yeah, I went for the Dragonfly Elite because of the reasons I mentioned. If you're going to use the laptop mostly for business and you really want those extra ports, you really appreciate those extra connectivity options, and you want it in the lightest, most portable package possible, then I would recommend the Vaio SX12. If you want all that, plus you also want it to be a 2-in-1 and a convertible for some reason, then the Fujitsu U939X is probably the best option. Otherwise, the HP Dragonfly Elite I think is for people who want to get some business done, but also maybe they want to consume some content, they want to watch some YouTube videos on the side. Then I think those people will really appreciate the better speakers, the better keyboard, and better display of the HP. So the HP Dragonfly Elite is almost the perfect convertible for me. I guess a few months ago, my main complaint would have been that the price was too high. But now, it's been a few months later where the new version has come out, and the old versions got discounted a lot. So if you can find this laptop around, let's say $1,000, $1,200, then I think it's a really good buy. There's a lot of good things about it. There's a lot of things I like about it. I like the display. I like the speakers. The keyboard's really good. Pretty generous trackpad. If you buy it new, you actually get a pen with it. But I didn't get a pen because this is a secondhand model, and I don't really use a pen anyways. Because, yeah, I'm not an artist, and I'm not really going to use that feature. But if you do buy it new, you do get a pen with it, so that's a nice extra. It's got a decent array of ports. It's not the most ports I've seen on an Ultrabook. Like, it's not like the Vaio SX12 that I did a review on a few days ago. Like, that one had like an insane amount of ports. This one is a decent amount. I wish it had a micro SD, but that's about it. Don't think anything else is really missing. I guess another thing is that this laptop comes with 8th gen processors instead of 10th gen processors, but that's to be expected because I bought the previous model, the previous generation. The newer generation does come with the Ice Lake CPUs. I guess the main difference would be that the Ice Lake CPUs have a better integrated GPU, right? The Iris Pro graphics, which I don't think really matters too much for business people, right? Because you don't really expect good graphics or dedicated GPU on a business laptop, right? So I don't think it's a big deal. The full-size arrow keys would have been nice to have, so that's maybe just a nitpick. And then, yeah, the phone buttons up here, the call and hang up, I guess, could have been replaced. I don't really know why they had to be there. I think a bigger delete button would have been nice. But those are all nitpicks, right? I think otherwise this is a pretty great laptop. The build quality is really good, and the weight is really good as well. So for other laptops that we can compare it to, like I said, the HP Spectre X360 is probably the closest comparison on the consumer side. That laptop you would get if you really care about the display options. So that one's the only one that comes with a 4K OLED display, which is, you know, that if you want the best display, then go for that laptop. Also comes with a micro SD card slot. So those would be the main reasons why you would choose the X360. Then there's, if you want to compare it to business laptops, like I said, the Fujitsu is probably the closest comparison, but we also have the Vaio SX12, which you would go for if you didn't care about the convertibility form factor and you just wanted to have the most compact, lightest business laptop. Then there's the Dell Latitude 7400 2-in-1, which I think is also a good option. It has the microSD card slot as well as an extra USB-A port, but that one's slightly heavier and I think the design looks a little bit plain, right? It just looks like a typical Dell laptop. The same with the ThinkPads, right? ThinkPads also look very plain. If you like that plain black aesthetic, then you can go for that. The X1 Yoga is probably the closest comparison here. It's a different class because it's a 14-inch and it's also heavier. It's got a larger footprint, but that's also another option that you can go for. Oh yeah, another laptop I forgot to mention is the Samsung Galaxy Book Flex, which also came out a few months ago, the QLED laptop. That one is more consumery to me, and it also has a blue finish, but it's a more bright blue finish. I think that one you can find also maybe around $1,500, maybe a bit less. I haven't tested that laptop out yet. It seems to be around the same weight as well, 2.5 pounds. I don't see anything all too special about that laptop other than the QLED display, right? So I guess my feelings on that would be similar to the HP Spectre X360 OLED edition, right? So it would be nice if someone can do a comparison between the Spectre 360 13 OLED versus the QLED display on the Samsung Galaxy Book Flex. That would be a nice comparison. Another thing I have a gripe with is I wish that HP could have put a 3:2 aspect ratio display or a 16:10 aspect ratio display on this device, because I think those displays would have been better for productivity use as a business laptop. It gets more vertical reading space as well. So I think that would have been nice, but again, that's kind of a nitpick because most laptops on the market are still 16:9. The only exceptions are, like I said, the Pixelbook and the Microsoft Surface laptops with the 3:2 aspect ratios. Those are not really business laptops. And then the Dell XPS 13 2-in-1 with the 16:10 and the MacBooks with the 16:10 aspect ratio displays. Those are the only laptops on the market that don't really have the 16:9. But to be fair to HP, a lot of business laptops on the market right now are 16:9, and they were just following the trend, right? Like ThinkPads, right? ThinkPads market themselves as being for business and professionals. They're all 16:9 displays. All the Japanese companies I mentioned, all the Vaios, Panasonic, Fujitsu's, Dynabooks, NECs, they all market themselves as being for business users, quote unquote business users. They're all 16:9 displays. So yeah, I'm not sure how much I should fault HP for just following the trend. Maybe they should be more like Dell and try something new, or Microsoft or Apple, right? And try a different aspect ratio and not follow the trend for once. But it is what it is. That's what we have to live with, right? But on the flip side, this aspect ratio also makes it better for consuming content. So there's that. So yeah, guys, that's the HP Dragonfly Elite, and to me, this is one of the best convertibles that you can get on the market right now, especially if you can find it at a discount. Talking about the previous generation. So yeah, if you can find it at a discount, then I think it's a pretty good value. And I think what's special about this laptop is that it can work equally as well as a business laptop and also as a consumer laptop. So it's got the business-oriented features, right? Because it's part of HP's EliteBook lineup. So it's got the V Pro, it's got the privacy features. It's been military standard A10G tested, but it's also got consumer-oriented features as well. It's got really good speakers. It's got a good display. It's got a pretty good aesthetic. It's good-looking aesthetic, I think, for consumers as well. It's not just a plain like black or white-looking laptop like most business laptops are. So yeah, I think this laptop can straddle the consumer business lines, and that's what makes this laptop kind of unique, I guess. So yeah, I think this laptop can work equally as well in an office as at home. So I think that if you're a business professional who want to use a laptop for traveling or for work, but you also want to have it look good, then this might be one of the laptops to pick out. And that's it, guys. Please leave me any comments in the comment section below. Again, subscribe if you love my videos, like my videos if you like them. And that's it. Thanks for watching.